Hey, it's Dorleen and welcome back to my channel. I am on day 4 of my rainbow card challenge and today's color is obviously green. So what I did is I just pulled out every frog stamp that I owned. I was surprised that I actually owned quite a few and I'm not even sure why I went with frog. Probably green frog made all sense. I grabbed a whole bunch of different green inks that I had, and I'll have a link below to my blog, and on my blog we'll have all the different inks, all the different products that I am using on this card. So basically I'm making my own pattern paper, and by doing that I'm just sporadically or randomly stamping these frogs all over this piece of cardstock. Now this cardstock that I'm using is 5.5 by 8.5. It's just half of the card, or half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I did it this size, not for any particular reason, but I wasn't sure exactly what size I needed for pattern paper, so I thought bigger is better than smaller. So once I did all my random stamping, I put some color splash. There was some green that you saw, and then some white. Again, all the product information will be down below in my, or the link in my blog. So I went around the edges using an olive ink pad plus this paddle brush. Now the thing I like to do is kind of, you ink your paddle brush and then you start on the side and then brush in, so you don't get any really harsh like stamped marks or inked marks. I went ahead and also stamped a little bit of a sentiment all over it as well. I decided I was making this card a mini flap card, and I have made one of these in my monthly card kit, so I thought let's do a fancy fold, fun fold, however you want to word it, kind of card. So the card base is 5.5 by 7.5, scored at 3.25, and then there's another piece that's 3 by 3.5, scored at 1/2 inch, and that 1/2 inch is on that 3.5 inch side, so you end up with like a 3-inch square. Once I folded out the score lines, I put adhesive on that flap on that 3 by 3 piece, and then I'm going to adhere it to the right side, the inner right side of that card base. So as you notice, that smaller, or that 3.25 inch part of the score is up on the top of the card. I just used plain white for the inside. I figured it was easier to stamp sentiments or write your greetings using white. And again, with this card, I'm using, color on color on color, but also throwing in some neutrals. I cut down that card, the pattern paper that I created, into a 3 by 5.25 inch strip, and then I realized I had some ink that all over my fingers, and I got it in the inside. So I went ahead and put some ink on the white base, which I actually kind of like because it really tones it down and blends more in with all that green on green on green. So, and then that other smaller square is cut down to 2.75 by 2.75 inch square. I wasn't really sure how I was going to decorate, so I was kind of going with the flow. I did stamp the word "you're unforgettable," and then I just used some of that ink from the brush just to add, just again to tone down that white and add a little bit of color. I did the fishtail banner on the one end, and that's basically doing a little snip down the center, and then each corner down to this bottom of the snip. Ink the edges, and then I know I'm going to put it there. So now it's time to figure out what I'm doing with that little, or how I'm going to decorate that little square. I went through my embellishment piles, grabbed everything I can see that was green, and look at that. Do you remember these flosses? I don't know, back in the day they used to be a thing. I have all kinds of colors, and I'm so glad I dug deep for this one because I kind of forgot all about them. So I just wrap that around my finger a few times to give it like a loose look. I'm going to break out my glue dots and glue dot that down in the middle of that squared base. And I had to use my scissors and my fingers and everything to hold it together while trying to put that glue dot on it. But it ends up being super cute right there on top. Excuse me. So I'm going through my embellishments. The buttons and that little flower are from Queen and Company. I did decide to pop up the sentiment just a little bit using some foam tape, and that allows it to have some room or between the floss and the sentiment. If I would have tried to lay that flat, it would have been really bumpy. So I'm glad I decided to put it on foam tape. I am going to use that flower because I only had one green one, and I figured this is a perfect time to actually use it. Now I'm doing a rainbow card challenge all week. I've started on Monday. Today is Thursday. So if you haven't seen my previous ones, please check my playlist for cards and you'll see them there. You can hit that notification bell, subscribe first, and then hit the notification bell, and you'll see all of the cards that I have for you. So basically I'm doing color on color on color, and I'm really loving how these are turning out. So I did decide to add a little bit more on that left side. So you see how I did the plaid? Again, deep dive into my stash. I've had that forever. But I hope you love this card, and if you do, hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe, and hopefully you'll stick around for the next two cards, which are part of this rainbow challenge. Thanks for watching. Bye.